and welcome back to my channel, and this is going to be a video just explaining all of the things that I regret buying as a special education teacher. A lot of this can apply to non-special education teachers, and this can apply to first-year teachers all the way up to 30-year teachers. So in no particular order, let's get started. I make a lot of really good TPT purchases. I'm usually pretty happy with what I get, but this was one of the first things I bought as a first-year special education teacher. It was August, school started in a couple weeks, and I was desperate for anything that could lead me to the right direction of things, and I ended up buying this. I won't name the seller because I don't want to be calling people out like that, but this binder was not only like rave reviews on TPT, but it was also being advertised on my Facebook, so they're paying some major money to have their ads run elsewhere. So I guess that should have struck me as weird because normally you don't see TPT products on Facebook of all places. This binder like advertises itself as like a fix-all of everything. So it has like acronyms, and then it has like different plans and schedules and all sorts of things that like in theory should be useful. If you're like my district, they have their own ways that they want evals done. They have their own checklist and ways that they want things completed. So everything in this binder was great and all, but it just didn't apply to me because it wasn't what my district wanted. So by the end of the year, I never was using it. Not only because it was huge, but because every single kid's information was in there at one time. If I wanted to look at something for one kid, I had to go get this giant binder, page through it, find the kid I needed, and find the information. So I had like their IEPs and their progress reports, and then like work samples, schedules. There's also parent contact information, but like for me personally, it works better to have one student have their own folder, so then I don't have my own personal IEP writing tips in one binder, but also not Bob, Sally, Sue, and Joe all shoved together in one. If I want to look something about Bobby, I'm going to take Bobby's paper. I don't want everybody's paper. So I tried to adapt it to make it my own. I tried adding things that my district was giving me alongside the ones that she was giving to me. But then by the end of the year, I realized that there was literally nothing in here that was from the original binder except for this cover. It was everything that was in there was stuff that my district had given to me, and I thought that that was useful because that's what I needed. So that's just a huge purchase I regret, and I've never changed it out, and that is why it still says 2017, 2018. Because midway through my first year, I just stopped using it because it was just so impractical. So my very first year, I made this. I Mod Podged the glitter paper onto it, and then eventually kids started getting marker on it. They were drawing on it. So it was around Easter time I found this. It's like meant to be a basket decoration, so I got that. But then this started happening. There's a lot of white pencils here. There's a lot of pencils that are missing erasers. There's a lot of pencils that have been chewed. And a lot of students soon realized that they didn't want to have a communal pencil bucket. So kids started hogging pencils, secreting them away in their drawers, which is fine. I was totally okay with it. So then every so often I would just throw all the pencils away and get new ones. I have plenty of pencils, so it's not a big deal. But this year has basically shown me that we're never going back to the communal pencil ways, so we're just gonna throw the pencils and that whole can away. Speaking of pencils, all of these pencils that have the white, they're pencils like this from Target that you can get for $1 in the dollar spot. The covering part of the pencil is actually plastic, so it's pretty easy to just peel the plastic right off, and then you're stuck with a plain white pencil. So, two things I regret. I regret trying a communal pencil bucket. Kids just need their own, they don't want to share, and I regret buying pencils from Target, except when I'm going to send them home as like little gifts. Then the parents can just deal with them peeling the wrapper off the pencils. So like I'll buy the Easter, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving themed pencils if I'm going to be putting it in like a little gift goodie bag for them. But I don't buy them for the classroom anymore because they all just end up like this. White, boring pencils. You'll soon see that the Target dollar spot is a common theme. Next we have bins. Bins. Little container magnet things. All from the Target dollar spot. All from my second year of teaching, when the vinyl on these was all of the rage, where people were writing like, Miss Shears markers, Mrs. Shears, don't touch, where then they would stick them on their whiteboard and then they would separate it. But 2 years ago, I didn't have a whiteboard. Now I have a whiteboard on wheels that I use for my foundations, but I don't have room on that whiteboard for this kind of stuff. So it's just kind of hung around. I've thought about making it for gifts and I just haven't. It's been sitting in one of my cabinets. And that's the issue with not knowing how you're going to use something when you buy it, is then you're just stuck with a bunch of junk. Yeah, sometimes you can figure it out, but most of the time you're just stuck with the stuff that you thought that was really cool, but you don't have any practical reason why you need it or what you're going to do with it. So I highly recommend these, only if you actually know what you're going to do with them. Same thing with like this sign. This was last year. I bought the wooden ones that said learn and read and something else. But then I also saw these. This one says explore and this one says learn. My thoughts were that I would do explore for something social studies related, and it never happened. And then this learn one, it would have to be stuck on the wall somewhere or just used as a relative decoration item. But I have an issue right now with things just falling off the wall constantly. So that's still in the packaging too. This is the last dollar spot problem. I bought one of these pencils that you can stick other pencils in, but I already have one in yellow. I didn't need to. So as a whole, don't buy things from the Target dollar spot unless you really know you're going to use it. That's just a big regret I have, and that's why I just stress so much that, like, if you're a first year teacher, don't go bananas on your classroom, because a lot of it's going to change, and especially right now with COVID happening, a lot of the stuff that you would normally want for your classroom we can't use anyways, like my books. No books in the classroom. And just like decorative junk like this is just taking up my space. So this is kind of a sped related one. These are called Wiki Sticks, and basically you can use them to write things on. You can use them as like a manipulative. They're kind of like a good way to calm kids down. They're kind of waxy, but I've ran into an issue where a student decided they were really great to chew. So then other students in the class started to chew them. And now the Wiki Sticks never get used because there's students trying to chew them. And I also don't like the fact that they're kind of a waxy, sticky material because they get stuck to things. So then they stick them to the bottom of the tables. I've seen them before used a lot where you can make them into letters, but then it leaves like a sticky residue on the tables too. So let's pretend that's an S. It's just something I regret buying, and especially because they're not very cheap. Once again, I just was buying without thinking of what I was actually going to use them for. I never made like a center of them or any sort because I already have things that the curriculum uses. Don't need something like this that doesn't have anything educational related to it, and it just turned into like a toy. Next we have all of these. So I was in a phase where I wanted to make really cool bulletin boards, and I saw these letters and I thought that would be really great to spell out them, but they didn't have all the same colors, so that's why you see there's a blue, there's a purple, and I have more somewhere, but I don't know where. I probably have, I don't know, 20 letters, and you think about how many A's you need to spell out a phrase. I might even have 100 of these. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't be surprised if I have some in my parents' basement. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some over there in the cabinet of doom that I don't want to organize. They're everywhere, and after my first year, I realized that I didn't want to be spending all my time doing bulletins, because even though I bought enough bulletin board border that I could change a bulletin twice a month, because I thought that's what I would have time for my first year of teaching, I didn't. So now I have border all over the place. I don't want to show you because it's in with the tubs, but I have like Thanksgiving border and flower border and raindrop border, weird little swiggle borders. It's everywhere because I thought I would have time to be changing bulletin boards, because I thought, when school is done, the paperwork, it wouldn't be that bad. I'd have time to change out the bulletin boards, I don't know, every other week or so. Oh no, I was so wrong. So now I have lots of bulletin border. I have lots of things to make bulletins, but let's be honest, I probably change it like 2 or 3 times a year. Half the time I design it on like a PowerPoint or something, or I find a picture on Pinterest and then I give it to one of my paras to do for me, because I don't have the time to be changing bulletin borders all the time. Okay, the next one is like a supply. Are you familiar with these kind of whiteboard erasers? Well, you can see this one's kind of red, and they have these strange hole puncture marks in them. Have you ever realized how satisfying it is to stab a pencil into these? Or how nice it is to feel it crumble in your hand? Or they break, just like that. So easy. My first and second years, this is what my district had, dry erasers, and they're horrible. I was constantly getting more from the office to replace them. I was constantly yelling at kids to stop messing them up, stop breaking them, writing quick slips. That's what we use for our behavioral referrals. For kids breaking dry erase board erasers. So then eventually I was like, if I'm so tired of these, why don't I just go buy some other ones? So we did. But now the issue is you can't share. So we're going to need to get some more dry erasers. And that's why I have the ones up there that I got from my Target haul. I'll show you. So these are $1 a piece, and I have 8 of them. In theory, if I could find one more package, I would be very happy, but it's not a total necessity because I don't know how much my kindergartners will actually be using them. You definitely could stab that kind with a pencil if you wanted to, but I'm going to assign it to them and they're going to be stuck with it for the entire year, or they'll get a sock because that's what some of the classrooms use too. So you better be nice to the eraser I gave you or you're getting stuck with a sock. And that's it. I'm done with these. They're going in the garbage as soon as I get up. Every year it seems like I want to try something new. I see something on Instagram, I see something on Pinterest, and I'm like, wow, that seems so great. So I saw somebody outside playing on the lawn with their kids. They were using these giant dice. They were playing some sort of math game. So I too bought some foam dice. These erasers come in a 4-pack. We have 2 left. One somebody broke, because again, you can tear it apart really easily, and another had bite marks in it. So now we have 2. And I'm going to give them away to the new first-year teacher that's moving in behind me, because maybe she would like them. Also, students would think it's funny to throw them at each other, then they don't understand why they're in trouble. It's just a whole lot of hassle that I'm not interested in. Lights. I know a lot of people use them on their bulletin boards, they put them on their smart board. There's all these like cute, great ideas, but I would put them up at the beginning of the year. I would re-put them up halfway through the year once they fell off the walls. And how many times did I actually take the time to plug those lights in and use them? Probably like 5 times last year. It's just a whole lot of hassle that I never had time for. And yeah, they look pretty. They look cute in pictures. The kids really like them, but is it needed? No. Is it cool when a kid pulls the entire strand off the wall? No. And then we have headphones. Now this is what I now have, but when I first started out with headphones, I got my students just the earbud style because that was the cheapest. First mistake. Then, not knowing the curriculum and what we were getting into, we soon started System 44, where students needed a headphone piece. Once again, I let them take the earbuds home and I had to buy these. So I guess what I'm trying to say is make sure you know what the curriculum is expecting of you, and then I could have just bought these right away and not have spent my time buying earbuds, and $3 earbuds times 10 kids is $30 that I could have saved and spent on something else. And the last one, which is the most annoying to me. So we've got the pile of crayon clips. Crayon clips there that stayed up. That one's falling off the wall. That one's falling off the wall. And oh look, some lights that aren't even plugged in. Great job, Monica. We got all these Foundations posters. A whole lot of Foundations posters. So I teach the 1st and 2nd grade levels of Foundations. Might teach the kindergarten level this year. I don't know if we're gonna keep going with that or not. If you are a 1st grader, you need all the posters up as a reference. If you're a 2nd grader, you still need the posters that you previously learned to know what you're supposed to do. I'm running out of battery, hold on. So if you're a 1st grader, you're learning the curriculum, you need this poster to remember. WH whistle wah, TH thumb, C cat cup. It's commonly used constantly throughout Foundations. We reference it throughout the day, even when we're not teaching Foundations, because we try to use Foundations throughout the curriculum whenever we're doing anything phonic related. So if a kid is trying to spell out a word, bat, then we make them think ba-at, bat. B bat ba, A apple a, T top ta. And if you're a 2nd grader and you're learning how to mark up the words, you need this poster, which tells you about the syllable types and how you have to mark it up. But even when using these syllable type posters, you're a 2nd grader, you still kind of need the 1st grade posters. Maybe you're not positive, you need a little reference, so you're still using the 1st grade posters. So me as a person who's teaching 1st and 2nd grade Foundations all in a day, I need all of these posters. All of these posters. So my solution was to put the most common ones that students interacted with right here so that they could use them, and everything else up on the wall over here that they could use as reference. And I'm tall enough that I can stand on a chair if I need a certain poster, if we're going to be marking up a word, or we are referencing something new, or maybe we're learning something new and we need it down so we can put it on the whiteboard. And I'm tall enough I can just reach up and get it, switch it out with something else. But that only works if your stuff hangs on the wall. So the very last regret of this video is command hooks. You failed me. It's all I needed was those command hooks to keep it up on the wall, and it didn't happen. And so sometimes I got desperate. We've got the sticky part from the command strip, we've got the blue sticky tape and some tape on top of it just for good measure, and it fell. no command hook to be found. But I'm sure you noticed that part of the number line is missing, part of the alphabet is missing, because this wall, this paint, it just doesn't like to stick to anything. But I cannot have a number line missing 7 through 12. So something I'm figuring out, something I'm working through. But command hooks, you are a regret. I wish I did not try purchasing you. Maybe I wish I didn't try the crayon clips, but I love the crayon clips. I love the idea of it. I love how versatile it is for me to switch out posters. I just wish I had something else that would stick to the wall. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave a comment down below if you have anything you regret in your classroom. Maybe you can come out with a video too of things that you regret buying in your classroom, because honestly, I'm sure there's more things in here that I haven't thought of, and I'm gonna go home and be like, oh, I do regret buying them. Maybe you're a person who teaches 5th grade math and you have hundreds of these erasers around and you don't use them for anything. Maybe that's a regret for you. Maybe you have a letterboard that you haven't used in forever. I personally love my letterboard. I use it all the time. But like, there's very different things that I love that maybe you regret buying. Maybe it doesn't work for you. You gotta try something else. So leave a comment down below. What do you regret? Make a video of your own. Make sure you tag me in it. Give me a DM. Show me on Instagram and I'll be sure to watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like this video if you liked what I had to say. And I'll see you guys in the next one.